Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Grump, how are you this fine Friday evening? Can you believe it? Friday evening.
Yes, usually comes at the end of every week.
I know, but we're doing a show on Friday evening. I cannot remember the last time we've done a show on Friday evening, Grump.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. For those of you who are new to the channel, new to the live stream, new to the podcast, we welcome you here with open arms. This is an all Islanders podcast that takes place usually every single Saturday around 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, obviously, we're going live on Friday evening. But if you like the content that we produce, today's a little different episode. We're going to talk some Islanders, and then we're going to do a call-in show. We have not done a call-in show, Grumpy. It feels like in almost about a year.
It's been a while. TJ didn't believe in giving the people a voice. It's only his voice that matters.
Yeah. Per the usual, Grump spreading his misinformation. That's just typical grumpy old man. Anyway, we're doing a call-in show. So this is a little bit, I'd say not our normal show and our normal broadcast that we put out there in a live stream. But we do this every once in a while, like every 6 months, every year or so. So it's about time. It's overdue that we've done a call-in show. Lou Lamoriello is gone. We've won the draft lottery. There's a lot of things to be excited about. Usually these call-in shows are more like, usually there's a lot more rage and anger. And I feel like this call-in show is going to be a little bit happier, perhaps, grumpy old man, than most call-in shows we've had in the past. But if you're new to the channel and you like what we produce, you like the content that we have, there's a few things and a few ways for you to support us. Subscribing on YouTube is a good way to do so. So you get little notifications anytime we go live. Also hitting the thumbs up button. If you hit the thumbs up button, it lets us know that you like the content that we produce, and also it helps juice the algorithm. It helps get the live stream and the podcast out to the masses. So make sure to do both of those items there if you like the show that we produce. Also, one more piece of housekeeping. We do have an all sports podcast called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. You could find it in the link in the description below or as a featured page here on our YouTube channel. It is an all sports podcast where myself, the Grumpy Old Man, and Son X talk anything and everything sports. So that's us talking about NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, college athletics, NFL, MLB, European football, literally anything and everything sports we talk about on that show. It's called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. So, Grump, we had a show last Saturday. Was it last Saturday? Yeah, last Saturday.
Last Saturday.
Weeks flown by. Last Saturday we had a show. There was a lot of rumors stirring around and being spread throughout Islanders Kingdom, Grumpy, that maybe Lou Lamoriello is going to stay on as a senior advisor. Maybe Lou Lamoriello is going to be the GM. Maybe they're bringing him back. Who knows? There's a lot of craziness going on, Grump.
And who said that was all nonsense? Do you remember?
I think you did, Grump.
That's right, me. There's a reason.
I will say this, Grump. I believe, as I stated, the longer things go without any sort of new GM, the more I'll start worrying.
Zero. He's gone.
Now, I will say there have been reports this week, Grump, that they're interviewing people that are in the second round of the playoffs, perhaps, and they're trying to interview, and they would like to interview people that are still in the playoff pictures, possibly in management on that side. I don't know who that could be, but that's that's the way things look.
Rumors are Shanahan, potentially if he's out at Toronto, who I'm not enamored with. Maybe somebody in the Dallas organization, potentially. It's not going to be anybody from Washington.
Why would you want Shanahan?
I'm just telling you the rumors. That's all. I'm not saying it's Shanahan. I'm just saying the rumors, people who are in the mix. Maybe somebody from Florida. Like I said, maybe somebody from Dallas. I'm going to say no to Washington, no to Edmonton, probably no to Winnipeg. There's only so many teams left. So
I don't know. The longer we continue, we've interviewed. It seems like we're interviewing every Tom, Dick, and Harry for this job opening that's out there that has ever had a semblance of being a general manager, having managerial experience in the hockey realm. I mean, like
there's been 4 confirmed interviews, right? Ken Holland, who went to Los Angeles, which would free up Mark Bergevin for the Islander job. Maybe he was waiting to make a decision based on, what happened in Los Angeles. Now, what reason would he possibly stay there? There's no reason for him to stay there. Then there's Jarmo Kakalainen, who formerly of Columbus, and I'm really warmed up to him just with us getting the first overall draft pick. He's been pretty good drafting guys, particularly in later rounds. And then, of course, you got Darsh from Tampa Bay. I cannot imagine them giving Darsh full run of the team. I just cannot imagine that.
I can't imagine them bringing any of those guys in that you've mentioned, but I'll let you continue.
Also, rumors that maybe John Collins will initially be the president of hockey ops, and then maybe hiring someone like Darsh for underneath.
Who are you hearing that from?
I just heard some things. Little birdies tweeting around.
That'd be about the worst case scenario if John Collins is involved in some capacity as president of hockey ops to start the season.
Just remember that he worked in the NHL front offices, and he worked with Shanahan.
How many years ago? How many years ago was that?
I don't know. But they worked together. I mean, to say that he's not qualified, I don't know if he is or not, but it's not like you're putting Malkin in charge while he's in London, or Ledecky. I mean, one thing about Collins, he does know the machinations of the NHL. So, I mean, that's a possibility. I just can't imagine them giving the job maybe to Darsh and saying that you're going to be president of hockey ops when you've never been a GM.
They're not giving it to Bergevin. They're not giving it to Kekalainen anymore. They're not giving it to Darsh. That's simple. If they were giving it to those people, they would have already signed. That's simple.
Unless they're waiting to talk to people who are, still in the playoffs.
Then that means that those guys are not their first choice. If that was their first choice, they'd be offered the job and they'd be on their happy way here to the island. So that's what I mean by they're not offering. Those are not your first choices. Simple. They've interviewed those guys, but if you're holding off to see, okay, we want to interview John, and we want to interview Tommy, and we want to interview one other person, guess what? Then the guys they've interviewed already are not their first choice.
Unless they're just saying, hey, we're looking at 5 or 6 guys. We're going to wait to interview everyone and then make our decision. I mean, Kakalainen doesn't even have a job. Bergevin's on the way out. Darsh is the assistant in Tampa. If they're looking to interview front office personnel from teams or still in the playoffs, I mean, it's just going to slow the search up a little bit. That's fine. They really want to have somebody in place before the combine, though. I think that's important. For the prospect combine. I mean, it should be Matthew Schaefer as the pick, but you still want to talk to all these other guys to see, what's what. And since it's not going to be the fossil who supposedly was flirting with Buffalo, talk about a loser going to a loser. That's just a perfect fit, honestly. Kevin Adams, watch your back if he's involved in any way, shape, or form. That's all I have to say.
My point being is, if you were blown away with the interview and you really liked the candidate, you would have offered them the job, right?
Okay.
Right. But if you're going through a job listing and you've got a set amount of candidates and you'd say, I really like candidate A, but I'm going to wait a few more weeks to see if I can interview candidate C, D, and E. We're in a time crunch here, Grump.
We're not in a time. It's not a time crunch.
I disagree on that.
If they hire a GM in the next week, would you say that that's way too long that they waited? I wouldn't.
I think they're in a little bit of a time crunch. They have to overhaul the entire organization from top down.
Yeah.
Just continuing to sit on our hands and wait is not putting them at a spot where it's advantageous to them. It's just not.
I disagree. If they said we want to talk to 5 or 6 guys, some of these guys are in the playoffs, some aren't. I'm not offering somebody a job without talking to all my candidates.
Yeah, I just think it means that they're not your top tier candidates.
If you got somebody from the Florida organization, would you say that would be a great hire?
My point being is Bergevin, Kekalainen, and Darsh are not your top tier candidates. That's my point.
They're out of the playoffs. They were out of the playoffs is the only reason
You've
they were
interviewed all those people, and you've talked to some of them more than once, and you haven't come away with we need to hire this guy. This is a can't miss guy. We need to bring him on as soon as we can. Guess what? They're not your first candidates.
So you shouldn't interview anyone until all the candidates are available?
Not what I'm saying. I just don't see them going back and saying, the guy we interviewed a month ago is the guy we're going to select. Does that make sense? If you're waiting to interview guys that are still involved with their team's playoff push and you're going to interview more recently, the likelihood that you're going to go back to the guy you interviewed a month ago and say, oh, actually, that's our guy, it's just not likely.
Okay. Malkin loves Bergevin. He's interviewed him when he went out there in April, and they've interviewed him in the process that started here. Maybe they're just like, you know what?
He loves him so much he hasn't offered him a job yet.
Because maybe they just want to do their due diligence. I don't understand. He doesn't have a job. He does not have a job. How many of these positions are open right now? None. Just the Islanders. The only position open, Islanders.
As simple as this, you start getting paralysis by analysis. The longer you sit, the longer you wait. How many vacant GM jobs are there right now in the NHL?
No,
Can you tell me that?
Just the Islanders.
Do you want the Kings? How long did it take the Kings to find their general manager? Did it take them 5-6 weeks?
I
don't think it was the right choice. I don't think it was the right choice for them. But my thing is, teams usually don't sit around and wait. And it's just like, hey, we're just chilling. We're just waiting over here.
Ken Holland was the Islanders' #1 choice, and he turned them down. Buffalo wanted him, turned him down. You know what? You know that the Kings knew they were getting rid of Blake, right? You knew that, because otherwise, as soon as that job comes open, Holland gets it immediately. No, they knew what they were doing. That's why he didn't accept other jobs that he was offered. Okay, maybe Holland was the Islanders' first choice. He turned them down. It is what it is. I have no problem at all with you interviewing all the candidates that you want to interview.
I don't have a problem with that either. What I'm saying is very clearly the guys we've interviewed already are not your top tier picks. Maybe
they are the top tier picks, but they want to interview another couple of guys.
I cannot imagine I'll mention this here. I've got no problem with them taking their time to interview players and interview general managers and interview people in management. If you are taking time, you must not have been blown away with the guys that were offered, because we offered Ken Holland the job. We like Ken Holland enough to offer him the job. We haven't offered the job to Kekalainen. We haven't offered the job to Darsh. We haven't offered the job to Bergevin. Why do you think that is? We offered the job to verifiably offered the job to Ken Holland, and he took a different direction. My point being is we haven't felt warm and fuzzy about any of the other candidates besides Ken Holland. And it does bother. I'm happy Ken Holland walked. I didn't want Ken Holland. But again, if we felt that any of those other guys were the right fit, we would have offered them the job already. I don't think that's a far-fetched conclusion.
If there's 5 people you want to interview and 2 of them are still in the playoffs, you're going to wait.
Why are we trying to bring Ken Holland the job?
So you don't think you should actually listen to anyone else if these guys are available for a reason, because they're not working right now. They are available. Okay. The other guys are still in the playoffs.
We already tried to bring Ken Holland and his son into the mix.
Well,
we didn't care about interviewing the other candidates.
Supposedly they were.
That was the rumor that they offered Ken Holland the job.
I don't think they offered him the job. They wanted him. He was somebody they wanted, and he didn't want the job. He didn't want the job. That's what they interviewed him, and he said he didn't want it. That's all we really know. That he was interviewed, and he said he didn't want it. Now, if you're Ken Holland, who lives on the West Coast, by the way,
why take the interview?
Okay, they interviewed him, and he just said he just wants to stay. He wants to go to the Kings. Maybe it's just a matter of, you know what, I didn't like the Islanders because the Kings are in a better situation than the Islanders. That's a possibility.
I like this one. Brett W says, I think they're waiting to interview Grumpy.
Very possible.
Now it starts to make sense. I'm just saying, I don't think they have the warm and fuzzies about any of these other guys that they've interviewed prior. Otherwise, they'd have some sort of offer in place.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think they're doing their due diligence, which is what they should do, okay. Head coaching search, right? Joel Quenneville gets the Anaheim job. Let's say they were blown away by Joe Schmo or somebody else. I love the way he talked. Would you rather wait to interview Joel Quenneville
Well,
or
Joe
one of
Quenneville
these
has
other
been
ham
sitting
and
out of
eggers?
the NHL. Joe Quenneville's been sitting out of the NHL for what now? 4 seasons. So trust me, it's not like you had to worry about, oh man, hey Joel, can you fit us into your schedule? Or do you have 2 or 3 weeks? Do we have to wait to get you here? He's like, great, I can catch the first flight out there to Anaheim to go interview with you because I'm sitting on my ass for the last 4 years. So it's not an apples to apples
I just
comparison.
I mean, I just think there's remember there's a lot of things involved too. Patrick Waugh. Who wants Patrick Waugh as coach? Malkin likes Patrick Waugh. Maybe some of these guys are initially turned off to Patrick Waugh. Maybe they're saying, what do you want to do what are your plans for the whole organization? So you don't think it's smart to just hear everybody out and because
That's
you know
not
what?
what I'm saying. That's
Here's
not what
something
I'm
that
saying.
happens. Here's something that happens in the interview process. Maybe you listen to a whole bunch of divergent opinions and maybe you have a favorite. Okay. But you want to hear what everyone has to say. And maybe it's something, hey, you know what? We hadn't thought about that. We hadn't thought about that. That's something that we can implement. And if this guy is the first choice, well, you want to know something? We're going to mention this from another interview. What do you think about this? I just think you're really worried too much about that. I'm not even concerned at all. Not at all.
I'm not worried and concerned. I'm just saying the guys we've already interviewed, if I'm having to go to Vegas and to bet on this, guess what? The guys that we've interviewed 2 weeks ago and more, those are probably not the guys who are going to end up being our general manager. As I've mentioned multiple times, I just want you to listen with open ears, please. I have no problem with them interviewing all of the candidates. All I'm saying is the first candidates and crop that they have interviewed must not have given them the warm and fuzzies because they're still sitting here with no offers on the table.
So you don't think it's entirely possible? Are you going to tell the guy, okay, well, we got to interview 2 more guys and you're going to have the job? Maybe they have said that. But
Hey,
we want to hear these other guys
we're
out.
going to wait to interview somebody from Florida. And hey, they went to the Stanley Cup last year. They're going to pummel the Toronto Maple Leafs. You could be sitting here for a month and a half, and we're just going to sit here and not know. And we're going to interview them. Again, like I'm gonna let you know something. Guys aren't like, oh, cool. We'll just go ahead and sit in the waiting room for a month and a half. I mean, like they're looking to have a decision made.
So
I'm telling you, if they're waiting that long, they probably feel pretty confident in these other candidates they're waiting to interview. That's what I'm saying.
Or maybe they just wanted maybe there's 5 guys they really liked and they want to hear from all 5 guys.
You know what? You know what? When it's determined, because we'll move on from this. When it's determined, when we name our new GM, and it's not Bergevin, Kekalainen, or Darsh, and it's some other character who hasn't been interviewed yet, all you could say is just grumpy. All I want you to say is, wow, TJ, you're right on that one. Just like when Noah Dobson signs his big fat $10 million a year contract on a long-term deal, I don't need to hear anything but, man, you're right on that one. That's all I need to hear.
So if it is Bergevin or Kekalainen or Darsh,
I'll say it was wrong.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to say you're wrong now because I don't even understand why they want to interview other guys who are still in the playoffs. You're not making a decision until you interview everybody that you want to interview. Well, gosh, he sounded great. The only guy they've ever talked to about a job is freaking Lou Lamoriello. They never talked to anybody else. So it's like, who cares? Lou wouldn't have done that. Who cares? Like Lou was, you were the one last week, not even 6 days ago, telling us Lou Lamoriello is still in charge.
No,
and I told you it was ridiculous to lie.
I said the longer this goes on without a GM, the more I worry that potentially Lou is still going to be involved with the team in some capacity.
He's gone. He's been fired. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone.
Staples still tweets out. Staples still tweeting out that it's a possibility.
I can't even deal with stupidity like that. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard dealing with stupidity like that.
I think when we were talking percentages, I said that there's probably a very low percentage that Lou is involved with the team.
There's 0%. He just got fired. He just was fired. He was fired. Gone.
Okay. Simple as this. You're in a spot to where,
as I told you, around Buffalo. He wants to stay in the game. You know what? That doesn't sound like he's coming to the Islanders. He's done. They shit canned him. They kicked his ass out. He's done. Thank God. Done. God.
You know what? All I'm going to say is this.
You're wrong.
I said there's a very low percentage chance, and I still stick with that. It's still a possibility.
No, it's no possibility. You're not. You just fired somebody. He's fired. He's gone. Eliminated. He's out of the picture.
I'm still seeing outlets talking about now. There's 2 scenarios where maybe Lou is still involved in some capacity. The other scenario.
This all started with a tweet from Phil. All this started with a tweet from Phil. All of it was a tweet from Phil. Started this whole thing. That's what it was. And they all ran with it. They all ran with it. And you jumped right in.
No,
Not
I didn't.
me.
It's a possibility. I'm not saying it's likely.
Impossible. It's impossible. There's no possibility.
I like how we're splitting hairs on you getting upset that I'm saying it's
Fine.
unlikely and you saying it's impossible.
He's fine.
We're not even one standard deviation away, Grumpy. I think it's very unlikely, but I still think it's possible. But
they're not even let him in the state of New York anymore. If he wants to stay in New York, he's got to go upstate to Buffalo. He's not even allowed in the metro area. No.
And I do like, though, that they're saying that maybe if there's other candidates that they're looking to interview that are still in the playoffs, we shall see. My bet is it's a candidate we haven't interviewed yet, or it's not Kekalainen, Bergevin, or Darsh that is going to be the new general manager. That's my say, and that's my take on the situation. You could go all you want, but that's my opinion. If I'm betting on it and I'm a betting man, that's what I'm putting my money on.
I think they just want to hear what people have to say before they make a decision. That's all.
Good gracious.
These are not guys who always have their fingers in the pie. They're not. They want to hire. They want to do their due diligence, hire someone who's going to be best for the organization. And it's like, hey, we targeted these 5 or 6 guys. We think they're all great candidates. Let's see what's going to happen. It's like, oh, well, this guy had a great interview. Oh, well, let's just hire him because he had a great interview. Well, what about this other guy? Oh, wow, he had a great interview too. What about he had a really good interview too. It's like, what about these other 2? Well, let's just, who cares? These other guys have been great. Let's not even listen to the other candidates. It's just dumb. Just dumb. Dumb.
You know what? Again, when I'm right, all I need you to say is, man, you're right. That's it. I don't need you to try to go ahead and obfuscate things and trying to go ahead and try to
use big words. No one understands what you're saying.
You
probably use the word wrong.
Listen, I don't need you to try to muddy the water or try to disprove or try to say, oh, well, technically I said this. All I need you to say is when we hire a general manager who's not Darsh, Bergevin, or Kekalainen, all I need you to say, Grumpy, is, yeah, you're right. They're waiting on another candidate that they were more hot on. That's all I need you to say. I'd
like you to pull up a comment from 951 from your pal, Tommy Baffy. Just pull it up. Put it up. Put it right up. Put it right up. Lou's not coming back. Stop with that stupid shit. There you go.
I said it's a low possibility, but it is still possible.
There's no possibility. You don't fire someone and say, well, gosh, he's in the mix. No. If he was in the mix, he wouldn't have been fired.
Yeah.
Then you know what you do? You say, hey,
the rumor is
he's still safe, and then you interview and fire him. He was gone.
Here's the thing. As weird as it sounds, he's still showing up to the arena. He's still showing up.
It takes him a long time to empty out his desk. That's all.
He's still showing up. He's still showing up.
He's finished. He's gone.
You don't think it's odd that he's still showing up?
Let me just say, some of the ownership group really hates him, which is a problem. Really hates him.
Now, guess what? Now, this has been released to the public that Malkin likes Lou, just like we had said last show, and Ledecky doesn't. There's a conflict between. Well, it's a good thing that Malkin's only the majority owner.
You know what's a good thing? That Lou Lamoriello's gone. Because when you treat owners or partners like shit because you think that it's your team, you deserve to be gone. He's gone. Never coming back. He's never going to grace our doorstep again. Not happening. Now, I will say they want to have somebody in place before the before the combine. Without a doubt.
You got time. Let's use it, Grump.
Which is June 1st. And that's still 2 weeks away. Now, would it surprise you? Hey, maybe they make a decision next week. And then all of a sudden, all your little ridiculous comments are all gone.
No. It's still going to remain true. If they don't hire one of those 3 guys and have hired somebody they haven't interviewed yet, that's what I'm saying they're going to do. They're not hiring Darsh. They're not hiring Bergevin. And they're not hiring Kekalainen because they're still sitting on the pine. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, oh, gosh, we're worried about it. I'm saying who they're going to hire is a person they haven't interviewed yet for a team that is still probably competing in the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand what is so divisive about that it makes you so upset, but that's what's going to happen.
I don't understand why you're even complaining about it.
I'm not complaining about it. Holy shit.
So if Bergevin gets the job or Kekalainen gets the job, then you'll just say you're wrong.
And if they're not, all I need you to say is you're wrong. That's it. Could you do that? Can you make that promise?
Because I don't know what the plan is, and neither do you. But one thing I can tell you, Lou Lamoriello's not coming back. You can just admit you're wrong on that now.
All I'm saying is this. I just want you to say when a guy who hasn't been interviewed yet takes the job as the next GM, all I need you to hear say is, yep, TJ, you're right. They
No,
weren't.
because they won't say that because they haven't interviewed
This is what I
everyone.
fucking mean. This is what I mean.
You don't offer someone the job until everyone has been interviewed. You don't do that.
What I'm telling you is they haven't got the warm and fuzzies from any of these guys yet. And it's going to be somebody they haven't interviewed yet who gets the job. And all I need you to say is, yep, TJ, you're right on that. That's it. That's all I need you to say.
You don't offer someone the job until everyone's been interviewed. You don't do it.
All I'm going to need you to say is, I was right when it happens.
I'm
and
not
I'll say
saying
I'm
that.
wrong if I'm wrong. Simple. Okay, you won't even say it. You
Everyone
won't say
knows
I'm
that
right.
you
won't say I'm
never
right.
admit when
I'm
you're
not
wrong.
going to say that you're wrong. I'm not. That's right. That's not true. You're such a crybaby.
In life, you
You're
never admit that you're wrong.
You're such
There's
a
always an
complainer.
excuse why you're wrong. Always.
You're such a
That's the way you
complainer
are.
sometimes.
And I know you better than anyone.
You're such a
The way you
complainer.
are.
Such a complainer. All I need you to
not
say is
complaining.
you're right.
I'm
That's
just
it.
saying, could be anybody. I'm not concerned at all.
Yeah, how is Toronto doing? Toronto still winning the Stanley Cup, or you backtracking that one again? Or you going to stick by your statements? You backtracking that bullshit again?
I
Why
said
don't we
they
go
were
ahead
my
and
dark
change
horse.
topics a little bit?
They were my dark horse to win the whole thing. They were.
No, you were talking about. Oh man,
could be the year. Could be the year.
Toronto's gonna win. You and Phil were
Toronto was going to win. They're my dark horse to win.
Toronto, man. Who did I pick as my dark horse? That's right, Toronto. Look at them. They're gonna win the Stanley Cup. Yeah, okay. Don't worry. You go back to last episode and listen to it. People should start grilling your ass and holding your feet to the fire on that one. Just not even 2 weeks ago. You could say, Grumpy, you were wrong again, Grump. That's all I need you to say on that one, too. Wrong
nice
again,
deflection.
Grump.
Nice deflection.
No, it's because you're unwilling to ever admit any sort of onus when you're wrong.
That's not true. It's so not true. I say you interview all the candidates before you offer someone the job. That's all you do. Why would you offer someone the job until you interview all the candidates?
I'm saying as simple as this. The candidates that they're going to interview upcoming are going to be one of the candidates they select. They're not enamored with the guys.
Maybe not.
Both these could be true. Both these could be true. And you've been sticking over here fighting me on that because you're just like, you refuse to admit that.
I'm not arguing with that at all.
You just have. You've been arguing with it the entire fucking time. What do you mean?
You interview all your candidates before you make an offer. You don't make an offer until you listen to all your candidates. That's just dumb.
We're running in circles. We're a car that's stuck in mud right now, and you just continue to just run in circles. Run in circles. Anyway, we're not getting any further on this. I don't even want to bother talking about it. I'll just let myself be vindicated after it's done, and I expect that you're right. That's all I need. You can put it in writing, Grumpy, and we can post it on the show if you want. That's fine,
too.
Oh,
my God. Shut up. What else you want to talk about?
I don't know. At the
Let's
draft,
talk about,
just do the.
let's talk about the dropping draft stock of James Higgins. Let's talk about that.
That puts a smile on your face.
I just don't think he's someone that we should consider a pick. Certainly not at number one.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do anything crazy. Let's be honest. You go into a draft, what should you do? Draft for a team for any team, actually. Draft the best player.
Best player available.
Period. That's it. And that's the Schaefer kid. That's the Schaefer kid. He's by far the best. The only thing is, he didn't play the whole year. I don't care. I've seen enough tape on him now where I'm like, that kid's phenomenal. Where the Higgins kid, his compete is okay, but he's a perimeter Pete. Does not likes to hang around on the perimeter. We don't want guys like that. Yes, he used to be a perimeter Pete, and he's turned out where he's not afraid to mix a little bit. Simon Holmstrom. He was a perimeter Pete. Josh Bailey. James Higgins like another Josh Bailey. How many of these Josh Bailey types do we need? Guys who are afraid to mix it up.
Wow.
How many of those?
That's about the biggest slop hit job I've seen. Josh Bailey or James Hagan is like Josh Bailey. Wow. I like that. You had to remove it. You had to first say it's like a perimeter Pete, just like Simon Holmstrom. And you know who Simon Holmstrom is? Josh Bailey. Ixo faxo. James Hagan is Josh Bailey. Look at you go, Grumpy. That's impressive.
And to Simon Holmstrom's credit, he has, under Patrick Waugh, because it's the only way he learned, he was certainly a perimeter Pete in his early Islanders career. When Patrick Waugh there is like, you don't want to mix it up? Pierre Engvall, perimeter Pete. Simon Holmstrom, perimeter Pete. Guess what? You're going to be sitting out. You're going to be a healthy scratch. You're not going to get a whole lot of ice time. And to his credit, and to a certain extent, Pierre Engvall's credit, they have absolutely become a better player, better NHL player, where they're not hanging around like most of the Swedes, where they like to hang around on the boards drinking Coke from them, little sippy cups from their moms. They've absolutely changed that. And it's made them better players and made the Islanders a better team. James Higgins is like that. Against the bigger, more physical players, and I realize he's younger, but against the bigger, more physical players, he hasn't looked real great. And I'm not saying he sucks.
He was the youngest kid in college this year. That is worth taking into account.
Yeah, well, you want to know something? He's one of the oldest draft picks this year.
Okay, he played against college kids. It's the level of competition he played against. Again, he didn't light the world on fire, and people expect him to do better, and he tailed off towards the tail end. That's as simple as it is. So you are no longer in favor of trading up, Grump, into the first round to get a guy like James Higgins?
Not if I have to give up maybe for Colorado's first next year. That's it.
Romanoff in Colorado's first, would you do it?
Yeah, I'd do that because I hate Romanoff. I want him gone. And
it's addition by subtraction for Grumpy.
Yeah. And then I figure, the new GM is absolutely going to start moving guys like Average, Anders, and JG Pajot, and maybe one of these useless defensemen aside from Romanoff. So maybe they'll have more ammunition to go into next year's draft. Next year's draft is really, really good. You want to have as many kicks at the can in that draft as you possibly can. I'd almost rather we're going to give you an unprotected first-round pick in 2027. I'd rather do something like that. I don't want to give up anything from next year's draft. If I had my druthers, nothing. I want many kicks at the can in next year's draft.
Okay. We are going to get into our ad read, then we'll start opening up the phone lines here, running through some comments too. But today's podcast and live stream is brought to you by DraftKings. The NBA 82-game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for all the high-stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw-dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30, 40, or more? It's your call. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code THPN. Again, that's code THPN for new customers. Get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for a gambling problem. If you call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly and to the Boot Hill Casino and Resort. You must be 1 year or older, and age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. It's void in Ontario. New customers only, and bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio.
Nice job.
All I have you is just stuck staring at the TV screen over there, Grumpy. Is the game
1-0 Toronto? 1-0 Toronto.
Is Toronto your favorite to win now again, the Stanley Cup?
I said they're my dark horse.
Are they? Who's your favorite to win, Grump?
Florida.
Okay. So there you go. Now you flip-flopped. No longer is Toronto going to win the Cup. Now
it's Florida. I think whoever comes out of this series is going to advance to the Stanley Cup. I will say that.
You don't think Carolina has a shot?
No. I want them to, but I don't think so. I think Florida's too physical. Florida's good.
Carolina hasn't had a tough road at all.
Yeah, well, they haven't played Florida yet.
Yeah, well, simple as this. Florida's had some tough games. They've had some tough opponents, Grump. Grumpy, what are you watching? They already scored. Come on now. What are you doing? We got to grab your attention.
I'm listening to you talk. That's what I'm doing. I'm listening to you talk. I don't have to look at you to listen to you.
If I can get half Grumpy attention.
It's an auditory procedure. I hear what you are saying. I don't have to see you.
We don't even get half
a more appealing if I don't have to look at you with that stupid grin on your face when you think you're right.
Just keep watching TV. Just keep staring. Hopefully our callers, you can give at least the callers and the listeners of the show your attention this evening. Hopefully you can do that. What we'll do is
I wonder how many people think you're right on this as opposed to me being right on this.
Well, that's fine. Tonight's prompt of the show for questions calling. Oh, well, for a few things here, right? For those who have not done a call-in show, or just to recap, there will be a lot of calls in a short time frame. When you call in and I am on a call, I will ignore your call. So we don't hear a beep, beep, beep in the background the entire time. So just please keep calling in. Bear with us. We'll get to all of the calls. We promise. We always do. We will get to all of the calls this evening. We will.
But you might have to call back is what TJ's saying.
That is correct. You may have to call back. You may have to call back a few times. It just depends. It's like whoever comes in, I accept the call and just the order comes in. And if I'm on the phone with somebody, well, Grumpy, what is it like? The Oscars when they start playing the music?
It's like stadium seating. First come, they open the doors, people get trampled, some live, some die, but whoever gets in the front row, they get the front row.
It's like the Oscars too, Grumpy. When you start talking too long, we go boo. Or when you start playing the little music, Grumpy.
Music. Yes, yeah. So just let's be respectful of the other callers. So because we love everybody who listens, and everybody we love that. But
yes.
Once we had somebody who listened to our show once who thought I should have given him his own show on here. And he got pissy when I'm like, okay, goodbye, and he hasn't liked us since.
It happens. But yes, we'll open up the call. We'll open up the phone lines. Yes, bear with us. Be patient. The other thing, prompt of tonight's show, Grumpy. I don't know. I guess it's how are you feeling right now? How are you feeling as an Islander fan? Things are good. Things are good right now. This is going to be a positivity call-in show. I feel like. How are you feeling right now? That's
I think a lot of people tell TJ that he's stupid and wrong. That's what I think.
You talk about what you want, but I'm interested to hear how you guys are feeling. We've gotten rid of Lou Lamoriello, possibly. Maybe we got rid of Lou Lamoriello, Grumpy. And
has it always been the number, or is it a different number every time?
No, it's a different number. It's because the Google Voice thing that I have that kind of uses this. It runs through my cell phone, the Google Voice. It expires after a bit of time. That's how I know it's been over a year. It expired like in March of 2024 or something. So it's been a little over a year.
I know I hate to mix shows, but what do you think about those stupid Yankee fans? The bleacher creatures, when Juan Soto comes out, they all turn their back on the field. I think would have been great if somebody would hit a fly ball and hit one of them in the back of the head and knock them out. It's just so dumb.
You like Juan Soto. I get it.
No. Anybody who he left your team, move on. Yeah,
you're better off without him. Anywho, Drew says, hello, TJ and Grumpy. Can't wait for an hour to call in. Yeah, that's the thing there. Gosh, I will say,
I'll tell you to call in right now. Give him the first shot at the call because I know he's in Japan.
Well, I forget. Here's the thing. It's been a while since I've done this. That's what I have to say. So you're going to have to bear with me, everybody, in case I drop a call or a screw up. So you're going to have to bear with us.
To accept, press 1.
Nice way to cover your tracks.
Oh, shit. Sorry, buddy. I didn't pick up I forgot I had to hit 1. My bad, guys. Let me try this here. Hold on a second. I knew I was going to make a few mistakes.
This is why we don't do many call-in shows.
I think you're live with us. Can you hear us? Hold on a sec. Hey, can you hear us? You're live with
TJ and Grump.
Yes, can you hear us? It's TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
This is Craig, the regular human bartender.
Craig, what's going on?
How are you all doing tonight?
Doing all right.
Hey, not a whole lot. I'm doing great.
Craig, I have a question for you. Why are you a regular human bartender as opposed to an irregular human bartender?
Well, it's from I'm not original. I stole it from a show. What We Do in the Shadows on FX. And it's a vampire that pretends to be a regular human bartender. And
I have seen that show.
I thought that was clever. So.
Do you still watch that? Do you still watch that show?
I haven't in probably in like a year or so, but yeah, I mean it's pretty funny. Yeah,
it is. I haven't seen the last 2 seasons, but I did enjoy it previous to that.
Grumpy, you didn't even turn your phone off for our show this evening. What are you doing, Grump? Look at this. He's still got the volume running on his.
I'm doing a live call-in show. Let me call you back.
Hard to believe. I'm muting Grumpy. Simple as that. Well, Craig, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? We're in a spot to where the Islanders have gotten rid of Lou Lamoriello. Probably, most likely, gotten rid of Lou Lamoriello, and we've won the draft lottery. How does it feel being an Islander fan right now?
I'll tell you, 3 weeks ago when we canned the old man and we got the first overall pick, love it. I can't describe how happy I was. I thought this was a complete change in direction, and you know, it's not going to be a fix overnight or anything like that. You know, we might have to kind of take a step back this upcoming season and then potentially the next season. But we got some young players coming in, and with the first overall pick that, you know, you have the Schaefer kid. I genuinely think that could be a complete game changer and flip the script, you know, if we have the right GM coming on, you know. So I'm very excited. What makes me nervous is they haven't hired anybody yet, and we have no GM, we have no president of hockey ops, and their first bet was to go to Ken Holland, who I would say is Lou Lamoriello 2.0, where they just want ownership just wants to keep I guess like a middling team around just to stay competitive instead of just taking a step back and really changing the dynamic of the team, you know?
Yeah, and that's it's well. Thanks, Craig. Thanks for the call, and we'll unpack that here.
Who do you want to draft? Who do you want to draft with the number one overall?
That's another. That's how we'll end it too. Who do you want to draft at the end of the call as well?
I was going to ask you all the same thing. I think best player available. I want Schaefer without a doubt. I'd love to have Higgins. I'd love to have him. It's a great story, whatever. But Schaefer's the right pick. If we're picking at 101, Schaefer's the right pick. You don't. He's the best player. You can't deny that. So, yeah, I think that's the right one.
Well, Fantastic. Thanks, Craig. Thanks for the call there. Absolutely. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much, Craig.
Yeah, I'd say this here too. I
just want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
You know, James Hagan's a great story. If I want to read stories, that's what I do when I read for my granddaughter. That's it. Yeah. Otherwise, I want a winning hockey team.
Yeah, and I'd say this: Cloud9. I think he explained it right. Cloud9. Lou Lamoriello finally gone. Finally gone is exactly right. Here we go. Hold on one second here, Grump. Lou Lamoriello is finally gone. Cannot feel better about that. Let me link this up. We got another caller. God almighty.
It's worse every time.
Can you hear us?
It's worse.
Oh man, I hope I got that right here. Here you go. Hey, you're live with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
Hey, this is Goon Goon.
Goon Goon. How are you, Goon Goon?
Guys, both of you guys look great tonight. Just want to say that.
Especially the old man.
Goon Goon, do you find it funny that every call that TJ tries to pick up is worse? The procedure is worse than the previous call. Have you noticed?
Yeah, well, I mean, TJ's always trying his best. I always have to give TJ credit.
That's right. I like this Goon Goon guy, Grumpy.
He sounds like he's got a cold. or he's holding his nose like this.
he sounds
guys,
like deep
I just want to say, I have a couple of questions here, cocked and loaded. Should I shoot them off, or I just keep partying?
Please do.
Go for it.
All right. The first question of two is, who's more full of caca, Stephen A. Smith or Phil Sachs, or the Boston Celtics under attack?
I'm going to say it's Phil Sachs who's more full of shit, more than Stephen A. That simple as it is. Do you think Stephen A. is full of more shit than Phil?
I think they're equally.
Okay, fair enough.
And the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
And the Boston Celtics just rolled over and died today for the Knicks. Just rolled over and died.
Doesn't help when you don't have Jason Tatum on the.
I don't care. Show some professionalism.
Ugh, okay.
The Knicks absolutely suck.
And the next and final question I have is, does Lou Lamoriello spotting in Buffalo mean anything? Did Rex Ryan wind up kissing Bill Belichick's ring?
Ooh.
Here's what I was hoping maybe was going to happen, that he was going to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel on the American side and crash into the rocks. Maybe that's what it is. He's like, I lost my Islander job. Oh, no, it's all over for me. Woo!
Was he actually in Buffalo?
No, I supposedly
I think it was.
He was out.
I couldn't tell if that was like some AI image that somebody had pitched or had a picture of. I don't know. Anywho, well, good.
I was going to ask him a quick, Grumpy, if I can pull some strings, would you be interested in a GM interview for the New York Islanders?
You know I would, of course. They don't want to succeed, though. I don't think it's something they really want to be good.
Oh, gosh.
Too many strong ideas are probably a problem for that ownership group.
Oh, man. Looky there. Grumpy.
All right, gentlemen. Well, listen, I just want to say, keep on fighting a good fight.
Well, thanks, Goon Goon. Thanks for the call in. Looky there. Always nice from Goon Goon to call in there, Grump. And speaking about even like in Craig's point there, I do think it's natural that you do kind of get like, okay, what's going to happen with the GM spot? As fans, the longer you wait, the more you kind of start to question. But I do think probably the likely scenario is they're waiting for guys who are still, in the playoff, or their team still in the playoffs here currently before they make their decision. I think it's going to be one of those guys that's selected. That's what I think, honestly, is probably going to be the result.
I would be stunned if they didn't have someone before the scouting combine. Stunned.
Yeah. And even a little bit before the scouting combine. You know what I mean?
By next week, by the end of next week, I think they'd probably have somebody.
Depending on who this is, like it's just right. You're going to use the scouts that you already have intact probably, and you're going to do that. But you've got a lot of positions and a lot of cleaning up in this organization that has to happen. It just can't happen overnight. Just can't. So, hopefully next week we'll have an answer as to who the new GM is. Did Florida just score, Grumpy?
No.
Okay. I wasn't sure if Florida came back or anything like that. How was Wall played?
I don't even have the game on.
Oh, stop BSing. How was Wall played? Pretty good or no?
I've not been watching the game. I'm doing a podcast.
Oh, stop BSing me.
Do you remember?
Do we have a new GM yet, says Charles Dittmer? No, not yet. Jason Cameron says Grumpy. Drew Grumpy.
By the way, if you see a phone number at the 070 area code, that's not a scam. That's my actual Japanese phone number.
Well, there we go. I'll know to be on the lookout there for it. Freedom, fun, and adventure, Grump.
You're so correct, Grumpy. TJ doesn't want to let anyone else talk except the lunatics he books as guests. Hashtag torture. That's from Freedom, Fun, Adventure.
Joseph R.
Hey, guys, great channel. What do you think of the Islanders wanting to talk to Brendan Shanahan for president, bringing him in, or hiring a GM? Thanks, Joe. DJ, touch on that.
I don't want Brendan Shanahan. I don't. It's like I don't want. And Shanahan, he's still with Toronto, right?
Yes, but they say if they get knocked out again in this round, they could shake things up.
I don't want anybody who's got Torontoitis either. We talk about devilitis. I don't want anybody who's at that loser franchise of the Toronto Maple Leafs, because guess what? Toronto will lose. If they play Game 7, you can book it here now. Toronto will lose Game 7 against Florida. Simple as that. No shot. They don't. There's win. None.
We'll find out.
I don't want anybody who's got Torontoitis either. Simple.
Okay.
How about you, Grump? You have an opinion on that, or you're just saying okay to that?
I don't want him. Now, I think why that came up is he is friends with Collins, John Collins. So that's why people kind of, okay, no one knows anything. They're just guessing because ownership hasn't come out and said anything. So that's just the way it is. So they let people, their little imaginations run wild. I'm willing to take a step back. Let's just actually wait to see what happens. That's all.
Yeah. TJ, you book a special guest we discussed for tonight, or did you TJ it up? Well, X isn't even here, so no, I did not. Typical X did not show up on the job per the usual.
He knew. I mentioned to him today. I'm like, we're doing a show. He says, about my new show.
He's too busy playing video games or something. Charles Dittmer says
he was playing videos when I talked to him this afternoon.
I know he is. He lives for those things. Charles Dittmer said, TJ, please use a live background. I'm tired of seeing your earphones fade in and out. Well, we're in the kitchen. There's a lot going on behind me, so it's better to have it like this. Ever since little Liza was born, the podcasting room disappeared. That's what happened there on that.
Uh-oh.
Hey, you're here with TJ and the grumpy old man. Who do we have calling in?
TJ, you freaking moron.
Who is this?
This is Freedom.
Freedom, fun, and adventure.
It's Freedom.
How are you doing this evening?
Yep, George.
George, what's going
on?
Doing
all right, man, except I had to listen to you.
Oh.
How are you feeling? Lou Lamoriello's gone. We have the first overall pick. How are you feeling these days?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. I understand the executive hiring process very well, even related to sports. And other than your sociopathic diatribe, because you and Phil Stacks love torturing people, and I suspect serial killing people as well. But no, it's a normal process. They're getting good people in. They're gaining information. What do you think of the organization? What would you do? And that's valuable. The Owls have never done that. When they hired Mike Milbury, they didn't do that. When they hired Snow, they didn't do that. They do that with the coaching searches. They don't interview anybody. They just hire the first freaking guy, so they don't know what's going on. So this is phase one. They're going to go into phase two. You should listen to your dad. He's pretty smart, and he's apparently a saint too for putting up with you and your brother all these years.
I can't agree with Freedom Fun Adventure any more than he's preaching to the choir right there for me.
I'll say this, George. If you're a betting man and you had to put your money down as to who's the GM, is it a guy we've interviewed yet, or is it a guy that we have not interviewed?
No, it's obviously going to be probably Darsh. And I would put my money down, even though gambling is something I don't do. But it's just it's a phase. That's what I'm saying. They're in phase one. They've had conversations. They've had interviews. They may interview some other guys, like the 3 guys with Dallas or the guy in Florida, and then they'll hire. But it's probably Darsh.
I don't have a problem with Darsh. I just don't see that being the likely scenario. I just am like, if you're blown away with Darsh and you loved him in the interview, I just don't see why not offer him the job.
Just to go on a different tangent here.
They're not working at a bar, TJ. You know what I mean? It's a real big executive position, and you don't hire somebody, oh yeah, I like this guy, or this chick has big tits. You know what I mean? Let's hire her. You have to have multiple interviews.
They have
Freedom. I don't know if you've noticed, but with TJ using the fake background, when he leans his head back, he looks more bald than he really is.
You like that, Grumpy? Where all my hair disappears?
It's pretty
That's
bad.
only a few years away. Don't worry, Grumpy. It'll be all gone, just like yours, Grumpy.
But
I got more hair than you do.
TJ, you should buy your father some hair. You and your brother should pitch in and buy your father some hair, because you two crazy people probably cost him his hair.
That's right.
He was bald when we were young. He was bald.
No, you're lying.
Many years ago.
You're a blood sucker. You and your brother, a couple of blood parasites.
Sure. I wouldn't mind if it was Darsh. I just don't see that being the scenario. I think they've interviewed guys. They should know, okay, which guys do we feel like are, where we have a ranking list of it at least. I've got no problem with them doing their due diligence. I just think it's probably going to be a guy they haven't interviewed yet who gets the job. That's all.
And maybe it is.
Just remember this. It's a favors business and it's a connections business.
Sure.
So when you give the word to some guy's agent or representation that they're going to get an interview and they're thus tied up already, you make sure they get the interview.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. It's the hands you shake, not the grades you make. Sometimes it gets you places. No problem with that. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's not like it's a lie. So I don't know. We'll see. I've got no problem with them interviewing people. I hope we make the right decision. Simple as that. But you're on cloud 9. Who should we select here? First overall pick. Who are we selecting, George?
It's so easy. It's you take the best play available, and that's Schaefer. And it doesn't matter where someone grew up or who they root for or if they like the same video game as you or whatever the hell it might be. You just have to take the best guy and you win. Losers look for different things. And I just want to point out all the people begging for you to take Schaefer, who's probably going to go 4 or 5 or 6, would then bitch for years that you didn't take Hagen's 4 or 5 or 6, would then bitch for years that you didn't take Schaefer or Misa or whoever.
Yep. Yeah.
So
I would.
You don't deal with those people. You just work.
Best player.
People will ride the fence as much as they can right now. And you're exactly right. Whoever we pick, oh man, we should have picked the other guy. Oh, I can't believe we made that poor decision. We're on the books. It's Schaefer. You pick the best player available. And if he doesn't pan out or he's not as good, you know what? This is at the time period, the best player available. He had the best film. He's got a lot of room for growth and he's a young guy. So simple as that. Schaefer, best guy available. Absolutely, George. Thanks so much for the call on this evening, buddy.
Yep. Happy birthday to the Warden and love you guys. Be well.
All right. Thanks, George.
Thanks, George.
Good memory. Happy birthday to the Warden, Grump.
That's right. Warden's birthday Sunday.
That's right. A little birthday time. I think it's looking like Lou is going to wind up with the Buffalo Sabres. Was he actually spotted in Buffalo?
Supposedly, he's reached out to Buffalo. He does not want to retire. I'm just glad he's gone from here.
You know what would be a total Buffalo-esque move? Hire now an 83-year-old general manager who...
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I think he would get them into the playoffs.
Fuck.
I think he would get them into the playoffs. Kevin Adams is a crappy general manager. They have certain things that they need for the last 3 or 4 years that they just don't do it. Solid, at least one solid defensive defenseman and a real goaltender. It's what they've needed for years. They won't go out and do it. Maybe a little bit of physicality on the front line too. Those are easy. I won't say everything is easy to get, but a defensive defenseman, they're cheap. Getting it.
They brought back Lindy Ruff.
Yeah, it was a mistake. It was a disaster.
I don't get it. I'll never understand that. The team was ready. Buffalo can make the next step, but when you do stupid shit like that, it's seriously, it could really kill the franchise. It may sound like I'm being hyperbolic, but if you put a whole bunch of young guys who are ready to take the next step forward and you saddle them with a shitty old head coach who can't get it done, and the expectations are like, well, you just pretty much show up, you could have a terrible year and that's okay. It's just like, oh, gotcha. It's like loser sets in. The loser mindset sets in.
Buffalo hasn't made the play of 13, 14 years?
Yeah, been a long time.
It's unacceptable. Kevin Adams should be gone. They brought in Eric Stahl, one of the Stahl boys. He's like going to be learning on the job. So Kevin Adams, he might not even make it through the next season, but I guarantee he'll be fired after next year if he does last. He's just not very good.
Do you think there's any way that he can be fired now?
No.
You don't think so?
No. Not now.
Maybe if Lou doesn't take this like senior advisor position, then maybe he'll be the GM there for both.
You're handing the keys over to an organization with an 83-year-old man. Just say that out loud and just listen to it and tell me what you think.
We handed the keys over. We kept an 82-year-old man as a GM. It's hard to believe that.
The team since he was even at 75.
He's 77. Okay. Or was it 75 or 77?
It was 75. And I'm like, okay, but I didn't think he'd be here 7 years. I think I said 3 years and he'd be gone. And he lasted 7. Because ownership didn't have the guts to dump him early when they should have. His first 3 years was pretty good. They were pretty good. After that, the last 4 have been not so good.
Freedom
He's got a shelf life. And actually, at his age, he's more like spoiled milk. I don't know what his shelf life is. Yeah. George from Freedom Fund Adventure says, look at TJ trying to make up crap, interviewing everyone. They interviewed names you've heard. No, there are 3 guys in Dallas of interest, 1 assistant in Florida. Shanahan is president, not GM.
I just don't want Shanahan associated with this team in any way, shape, or form. I don't want guys from the Devils. I don't want guys from Toronto. Those are the 2 rules. Nobody that has devilitis, nobody that's got Torontoitis. Now, Toronto is up 2-0, Grumpy, over Florida. It's going to be a game 7. Who do you have in game? Grumpy, we're going to get, before we continue with comments, I want you to tell me, who do we have? Who do you have? Game 7, Toronto, Florida. Make it up right now, and you've got to stick with it. No dark horse bullshit. Who's winning?
It's probably going to be Florida, but it could be Toronto also. You never know.
Tell me who it is.
Hey,
Tell me.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to give credit to Florida, and I'm crediting Berube, actually, for bouncing back and playing as well as they did today after that disgraceful display on, Wednesday night. That was horrible.
Yeah, giving Toronto credit. I think you said Florida, but giving Toronto credit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Toronto, yeah, with Berube. And I credit Berube for that. He's like, yeah. I mean, he ripped the hell out of the team. But you kind of learn who your playoff type performers are. I don't think Mitch Marner is, to be honest with you. I think Tavares absolutely is a playoff performer. And I also think Matthews to a certain extent. I think Bobrovsky, the first goal he let in was kind of weak. But, hey, let's give Toronto credit. They played well. Joseph Wall's kind of turned back into the pumpkin that he is, but he's played well enough tonight. Florida
have a shutout tonight.
Well, but Florida didn't have a boatload of shots, maybe 25 shots last time I checked. So, with 5 minutes to go in the third. So
21 shots they ended the game with.
Okay, well, that's not a whole lot. So Toronto did the job defensively. They did.
Toronto only had 17 shots on that. Low scoring affair, low shooting affair. So who's winning game 7? We're pinning you right in the ground.
I'm going to pick the better team, which is Florida.
Okay, so Toronto, you're off the Toronto ship.
Toronto's a dark horse, but Toronto, I thought going into the season, I thought Toronto was my dark horse pick. They were. And then even after the first round, I was like, I thought Tampa or Florida. I thought Florida kind of scuffled a little bit down the stretch, but they hit another level when they hit the playoffs. They wear you out physically. That's what they do. And, we'll see. We'll see. I think the first goal is going to be important in that game. Really, really important.
Yeah, I've got Florida. Florida's winning that game. I don't care who scores the first goal, who scores the second goal or the third goal. Florida's winning the game because guess what? Toronto has this inherent ability to choke anytime there's an important game. They just got, again, like devilitis or something. Same thing with Toronto. They choke anytime they have a chance not to. How many, like you look at their record and game or series clinching games, it's hideous. They're going to lose. Simple. Mario V. Grumpy.
I thought the Islanders' GM position was a coveted job, according to Rosner and other media cartel members.
That's what we were told.
Well, you know what? It could be that a lot of these GMs are looking at it as like, man, there's an awful lot to do with not a whole. It's almost like an expansion team to a certain extent. Now they have. What I'm saying is, when you look at the entire organization, they have nothing in the minors, nothing, and they're starting over from scratch.
Okay, that's not true.
There's a few players on this team where you could say, okay, they're high level. Matt Barzal, Bo Horvat, Noah Dobson, Ilya Sorokin. Other than that, everyone is imminently replaceable on that team.
You've got young guys in the system. You've got yourself Cole Eiserman, Grump. You've got yourself. You're gonna have the first overall selection. So you got some stuff you're working with. But hey, you're live here with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
Hey, it's JP, guys. How you doing?
What's up, JP? How are you, man?
I just want to say, JP, one thing. I want to give you credit. I want to give you credit for winning the Islanders Never Say Die Fantasy Hockey League. I know there was a little video running around about you making up your own trophy and stuff, and I just wanted to give you credit.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'll take the flowers where I can get them. I got a little lucky, I think.
You did.
I didn't realize you guys were on tonight, and I had a friend. Well, my girlfriend's son, believe it or not, snuck into the Garden tonight and was in for 3 of the 4 quarters and got caught. without a ticket, and before the end of the game, before the final buzzer, ended up having to go to Times Square to watch the rest of the game.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Hey, yeah, he has pictures of inside the arena. Just like if you had just kept a low profile, you could have stuck around for a clinching game, but he ended up getting thrown out. So I'm hoping to get Darsh. I don't mean to be too circuitous and all over the place, but I'm hoping that they hire Darsh. I don't, it's taking them forever. I'm hoping that that's a good thing and not a bad thing. I've been disappointed so many times in the past, but Holland's already gone, so they can't screw that up. So I'm really hoping that Darsh is the guy.
I'm on board if Darsh was the selection. I just, as I mentioned earlier in the show, the longer we wait, the more I think it's they're coveted more. They're coveting more the people who are working on the executives for the teams that are still playing. You talk about the Dallas Stars assistants on that side. The same thing with Florida. I just think that those are probably the guys that maybe they're looking at a little bit more seriously. But I don't know. I'm fine with Darsh. I'm completely fine if Darsh is it, and we're just taking our time. I just think that probably, if you were enamored with Darsh, you really liked the interview, you've probably done some research. Maybe it already offered him the job, but I don't know. Just I don't know. Grumpy wants to interview everybody. He thinks everybody still has an equal shot. If you
have a list, you interview everyone on the list before you offer somebody.
Right.
But usually,
I agree with that.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I agree with that. I wonder. I've been paying attention to the playoffs. Is the draft in June?
No, it's after the playoffs. The combine, I believe, is June 1st.
Okay.
And you want to have somebody in place.
Then,
it is in June.
Right. So they do have time. Then they have time.
It's June 27th, June 28th. So tail end, right at the end of June.
Almost July. Oh, okay. I mean, I could see when is the playoff end? Because this playoff is going to go for a while, I think.
Yeah, that's my point, right? Like if you're interviewing people, you're gonna when you do an interview process, it's tough to say, okay, we interviewed a guy 3 weeks ago, and now we're interviewing a person now. It's tough to have that same exact, okay, I'm judging everybody on someone impartial. The last guy you interview, especially if, you interview Darsh, what could be 3 weeks ago, depending on whenever these other guys get knocked out, it's just tough to say, okay, you're going to be able to look at them all the same way when you interviewed one guy 3 weeks ago and these other guys have that recency bias. That's why I'm like, I just think that they're probably going to end out on top.
I'm wondering if you think that their assistant GM, say for Dallas or for Winnipeg or whomever, do you think that the franchises may just without it being tampering with the grant permission to talk to them? I'm talking about the assistant GMs, not the GMs, the primary ones. That I'm wondering if that's a possibility.
Here's what I think: if they don't hire Kakalainen or Bergevin, what you might see if they go with an assistant GM, I think that you might see John Collins take over as president of hockey ops. Because you're not going to get an assistant GM total control of the organization. That's just not going to happen. Maybe as GM, but not as hockey ops guy.
Well, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you're not as president. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe Bergevin Darsh would be the way to go if Bergevin's still available.
Yep. He's out of the job.
That might be the way to go
then. Yeah, I like Bergevin.
I'm sorry.
I like Bergevin, and I'm leaning towards Kakalainen right now because he's doing a really nice job working with a small market team like the Islanders purport themselves to be. And he's done a nice job getting good players later in the draft.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want somebody who knows what they're doing and is going to have a long-term view for what's going on as far as rebuilding the franchise. Because, the direction they were going was really directionless. the last 4 or 5 seasons. And yeah, absolutely. And you guys really, TJ, you really don't think the Leafs have any shot at Game 7, huh? You don't think there's finally going to be a turning point where the core 4 or 5 start actually scoring in games that matter, huh?
Nope, no shot. No
I
shot.
give them a puncher's chance, but I think Florida's the better team.
JP, who do you select number 1 overall?
Oh, Schneider.
Yeah, the Schaefer. Yeah, Matthew Schaefer there on that side.
Schaefer, I'm sorry. Yeah, Schaefer.
If Lou was here, maybe he would have drafted Corey Schneider number 1. I'm glad he got rid of him.
or Matthew Snyder. That was a slip. But obviously, Schaefer.
Yeah.
At least that's who who knows? You can't. There's nobody has a crystal ball. But I would just, if you're selecting number 1, go with the consensus pick. That's basically how I look at it. I know that Misa had a really good year last year in the O, but it's really to say that he's going to. I mean, it's tough to project what he's going to pan out to be, and I think the safe pick is the Schaefer pick. So I'd go with that.
Absolutely. Thanks, JP, so much for the call. Thanks for calling in.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Call from.
Hey, you're here live with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
This is Drew calling in.
Drew, how are you?
Good. How are you? How is everybody doing tonight?
Doing well. How are you feeling? Lou Lamoriello is gone. We've got the first overall pick. Tell me what it's like to be an Islander fan right now.
It felt like just the amount of process that I was trying to do to figure out how to get past this region blockage. I just fixed it, and my cardio's through the roof. My anxiety was through the roof, but it's over. I got it fixed. So that's basically what the experience was with Lou Lamoriello in a nutshell. But except it was all packed into 40 minutes of me just trying to figure this thing out. It's horrible.
Oh man, I didn't know how to region block on it. I guess Google Voice did. I hadn't even looked into that. But
no, it wasn't you. It was the fact, for some reason, my phone linked to my Mac on via an Apple email. I don't know what it was. And then all of a sudden I kept on calling, and there was these grating, ear-piercing beat sounds that were just continuous. And then I was panicking the whole time because I'm what the heck's going on? I had to fix everything, but I fixed it.
Oh,
I did it.
He got it fixed.
I say just go with blame TJ. It was his fault.
That's always the easy one. That's the easy one to do. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the easy way to blame. No, that was I have to be accountable when I'm accountable. So that was on me, but I fixed it.
Thank you there.
Look at that. Look at Drew's not afraid to be accountable, TJ. Maybe you should try it.
I don't have any problem with that. Now.
Well, hold on. Actually, hold up a minute. That's a good segue because Grumpy, there's a little bit of an elephant in the room that I'd like to address. How about having your Boston Celtics, man? What happened? They got killed today.
And they deserve to lose. They get when Jason Tatum got hurt, you looked at the rest of the players on the team, they just quit. Yeah. Today they quit.
That didn't happen in Game 5, though. That didn't happen in Game 5. So how did they quit? Or maybe it's the fact that you've underestimated the future Eastern Conference champion, the New York Knicks. And guess what? They're going to beat Indiana. I'm telling you that right now. If they lose to Indiana, it's because of injuries or bad coaching. It's not because of the talent that's on their roster.
All I know is Tom Thibodeau is really good.
Going to the finals.
Hey, Tom Thibodeau is a really good coach, isn't he?
Well, historically, he's flunked in the playoffs every single time he's reached the second round until this point. So I guess not really. One of them was not his fault, though, back in 2011 because Derrick Rose tore his ACL in that game, even though you could kind of blame the coach because he kept him out too long. So, yeah, he's had a lot of shortcomings.
He outcoached Joe Mazzulla. He outcoached Joe Mazzulla, whose thing is just shoot as many threes. Joe Mazzulla's got a head stuck in the analytics book. Well, gosh, we take a lot more shots. Well, dude, if you're not hitting shots, if you're going 25% from 3-point range, maybe you should change things up, coach. What do you think? When they lose games,
that's what I was trying to tell you. The Knicks are better. But that's exactly what I was trying to tell you. The Knicks are always better than Boston. The only reason Boston won the finals last year is because the Knicks were injured, Philly was injured, and all the other Eastern Conference teams other than Indiana until Game 4 were injured. So that's the reason Boston even made the finals. And who do they face in the finals? Luka, Kyrie, and a bunch of Jags. That was their competition. And even then, Jason Tatum still shot under 40% from the field then. So he's the most overrated superstar in the league. Even before the Achilles tear, we were still going to win that game. Like, we're a good team, man. Respect the Knicks is all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Like, if you lose in the finals, I don't know, but we're definitely not losing the freaking Pacers. Who the only reason they won against us last year was because we were playing a hostile squad starting 5 and 8 guys off our bench, or sorry, let me excuse that, 3 guys off our bench were also injured as well. So, and we still took them to 7 games. So trust the process. New York Knicks in 6 against the Pacers. Indiana will win 2 games because they'll run us out the gym. But trust me when I say it, New York Knicks going to the NBA Finals. Book it.
Okay. I just want, there's a common misnomer. I was not rooting for Boston. I just said Boston's better than the Knicks. And they are a better team than the Knicks.
Well,
Jalen Brunson. Okay.
Last year's team was not better than this year's team. Last year's Knicks would have beaten them too if they were healthy. I'm telling you that right now. We killed them in the final game of the regular season. It was just like that. They sat all their starters at the end of the third quarter.
But they were blown out all year. Boston swept them in season, right? I mean, and Boston choked.
But the regular season doesn't matter.
And Boston choked away the first 2 games. You got 20-point leads in your home building twice, and you lose both games. That's choking the game away because they refuse.
Typical Boston, though. That's what Boston's been for the past 8 years prior to winning their championship, Grumpy. If you watch the Celtics, you know that.
I am happy. I'm not a Boston Celtics fan. I'm happy the Knicks have advanced. I was rooting for the Knicks. I wasn't rooting for Boston.
Pin Grumpy. I think he's bullshitting us right now. Grumpy's
I thought Jalen Brunson was great, and they shrunk.
I think he is too, TJ.
Do you like that, Grump? I think you're a closeted Boston Celtics fan.
I stopped rooting for the Boston Celtics when Larry Bird retired.
Likely story. Very likely story.
Yeah, that's when they finally became a typical normal franchise and didn't win all their championships back in the 50s and 60s with Bill Russell. That's besides the point.
A big Larry Bird.
In 38 years, really doing themselves something good there.
There it is.
Drew, I hate to change topics on you, but who do you want for the first draft pick for the Islanders?
Well, I was looking at the roster, and I think defense is the most important thing that we need because we just don't have any guys down in there in the system. But also, it's just you got to take the best player available if you're in the situation currently. So yeah, I'm all for Schaefer. Give me Schaefer all day.
So right now we're 100% on Schaefer, where everybody is saying Schaefer. The fans should be upset if they don't draft Schaefer just based off of the resounding support of drafting the best player available. So, but thank you, Drew, for the call.
You know what's funny, TJ?
Oh, go ahead, huh?
I got something to tell you. So, I just wanted you to check out my Twitter, the Twitter DMs, because I had one little nice treat for Grumpy to end this call off. So, I wanted you to see that.
Put it up. Let's see it.
Oh, hold on a second. It's gonna be a loud one, I'm sure.
Oh, it's gonna be loud.
Yeah, this one I think is a loud clip right here, Grumpy. This is for you, though, Grump. I'll zoom in on this. There you go. Let's hope this is not going to bless my eardrums apart.
Fuck Boston. Fuck Boston.
Grumpy, would you say that looks like an older version of the Rizzler?
Oh, my God. No, this guy looks like he's got a muscular arm. The Rizzler does not 1 ounce of.
Hey, you know what, TJ? You know what they say? Knicks, Riz approved.
Knicks, Grumpy, they're winning. The Knicks are going to win, Grumpy. The Knicks.
Okay, I'd love to see the Knicks win. I don't think they are going to, but I'd like to see them win. They're probably going to get swept out by Indiana.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Drew, for the call. Thanks for the call. We'll wrap it up.
Love you, Grumpy.
Go Pacers! Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Grump.
They're going to struggle with Indiana. Indiana can run and they can score.
Oh man. Gosh. Let's continue on here.
Congrats to the Knicks, though. Honestly, I know Boston.
You're going to interview Rob Blake, says Nick B.
I hope not. No.
For president of hockey operations. Okay.
Don't want him. Freedom from Adventure goes. Grumpy Collins could be named president of business, not hockey ops. That way, not asking a GM to need to handle a business. TJ, there is no time crunch. Look when Lou and Trotz were hired.
Yeah, I guess so.
7 days before the draft, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Well, we didn't announce firing him. How long did it? When did we announce that we were firing Garceau? That makes me think. Like, was that immediate, right at the end of the season, or did it take a little bit of time?
I think it was right at the end of the season. But it was kind of a foregone conclusion. Everyone would say, well, Lamoriello. And they were even talking in the playoffs that Trotz is going to be with the Islanders as coach. They were talking about that.
He was fired June 5th. He was fired on June 5th. You talk about firing him at the last moment. It didn't take us long to hire somebody. It took us only a few weeks, but we fired him on June 5th. Think about that.
So maybe it's not as much a time crunch as you think, TJ.
Well, no, I just think it's not. I don't think it's impossible to believe that other GMs can get fired, and these guys that you have, we're waiting on that side, could very easily be picked up by another team. Matthew S.
It's not a time crunch because the draft analysis is not being done by the new GM, and all the good coaching candidates are gone. What's the point of rushing at this point? True. Don't rush it. Don't rush the process. What did Lou Lamoriello always say? If you got time, use it, right? Was that his motto? The Lou Lamoriello motto. John Smith says, I say they have another 2 weeks. You want your team in place a couple of weeks before the draft. I think that's fair.
Drew Grumpy.
Yeah, I can't agree with you on that one, TJ, you stunod. I'd rather the organization take its time.
I don't think he said you stunod, Grumpy. I think that's you ad-libbing.
I'd rather the organization take its time than not. Yes, same here.
Oh, buddy. We'll continue on here. Freedom, fun, and adventure.
Oh, my God, TJ. Are you just making crap up to torture us? Let me finish up the rest of the comment. Have you hired anyone? This isn't Kate Madden. These are three top. These three are top candidates. There's a difference between initial talks and formal interviews. 100% agree. Here's the thing about TJ and Phil, the comparison. They are opposite sides of the same stupid coin. They are.
That's not true.
It's
just not true. Joseph
from Polo says they are doing the right thing, taking their time to make sure, period. Exclamation points.
Exclamation points here. Geez, the Kings are in a better place than the Islanders. I think you're probably right. Yeah. Freedom, fun, and adventure.
Holland wasn't the Islanders' top choice. He made his list of demands, and the Islanders said, no, not bringing your stupid son and not getting unlimited control. Yeah, I'm glad he's not here. We just went through that.
Hold on.
I don't want anybody has a child that they can make GM. No.
Oh man, this is great. We got this submitted by Tony Cheese. He's got a very important prediction that Grumpy threw out there. That is, I'd say you kind of hit on, Grumpy. This is when X was still incognito, by the way.
Okay. Take off. Matter of fact, they are going to win the Super Bowl next year. You made me say with a real defense. They're going to take off. Matter of fact, they are going to win the Super Bowl next year. You made me say
Grump. Hot take from Grump. Jets Super Bowl champions.
I think he got the name wrong. I don't think he said Jets.
Looky there, Grumpy. That was another one of your great takes there.
Look at that corn mustache that TJ had back then.
There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe I grow the stash back out. Maybe I do that, Grump.
Don't do it.
Maybe I'll grow the stash back out. I appreciate
it. I remember they pushed me into that. I went in for the Aaron Rodgers thing. I absolutely did.
Hold on. Does this sound like we pushed you in? Hold on.
With a real defense. They're going to take off. Matter of fact, they are going to win the Super Bowl next year. You made me say it.
Doesn't sound like I was coercing you. Doesn't sound like I was coercing you at all, Grump. Sounds like you're doing another one of these.
I bought all in on Aaron Rodgers. You know what was my big mistake? It's the Jets.
Yeah, that's why you don't pick up people from the Jets. You don't pick up anybody from Toronto. Same thing. Holland wasn't the Islanders' top choice. He made his list of demand. Oh, gotcha.
Already read that.
Did you read this? Oh no, we read that I think already too. Oh no, Matthew S.
LA is also a much better run with the better development system. The Holland decision is pretty explainable. Yeah, I don't blame them for going there.
Freedom of
Adventure ads. You collect their information, you check it out, you talk again, you check it out again, you take references. You see if a plan and information they told you about is their previous stops and the plan for you.
Yeah.
You got to do that. Due diligence. Taking your due diligence.
Let's continue along here, Grumpy. Coach Tommy B.
Holland did not want the job because he is old and did not want to have to rebuild the disaster of the development system that's currently in place. I think that's very fair.
I like that one. Greg.
The regular human bartender says they're looking for another Lamoriello type to just keep the team in the mix instead of taking a step back to build a genuine contender. Hence, Ken Holland. Ownership doesn't understand taking a step back. Well, they're not getting. I disagree. I think that the fact that they lost the All-Star game means that, I mean, what are they going to have I know they're getting the send-off thing. So is everybody just going to take buses, drive around USB Arena, and then USB or UBS? I don't remember. UBS Arena. They're just going to drive around, have everybody wave, and then go to the airplane to fly overseas. I don't know what it's going to entail, but it's not good. And I just think that getting Schaefer makes all the difference in the world. I wouldn't even play him this year. Send him back to the juniors. Joseph from Polo says that would have been Lou and his son all over again, talking about Ken Holland. 100% agree. Freedom Fund Red says TJ Darsh and the other two just interviewed this past week. If you have to go to Vegas and bet on something, you think that sweet little baby is going to grow up poor.
We'll see. Shanahan for president, says Joseph R. Isles, man, grumpy.
I wish I believed in this ownership to have a smart process, but I don't. I agree. I think they're going to be okay. I think they'll be okay.
Think about how long it took them to fire Lou Lamoriello. Anyway, Gutschite revenge.
Matthew Darsh for the Islanders GM and Jarmo Kakalainen for president of Hockey Ops. I'm fine with that too.
I'd be fine with it, but it's just not going to happen.
Oh God.
You go.
Freedom Fund says, look, TJ, manhandled, might hire guys after one interview, and I don't even want to know what those interviews are like, but this is an executive search. These aren't one interview jobs. True. Tommy Baffy says, Shanahan is a serious candidate for team president of Hockey Ops if Toronto gets eliminated.
Yeah.
He's friends with John Collins.
Yikes.
Says, look at the smile on the sociopath's face when he's got Grumpy to explode. He just baited us with all his stupid stuff.
Oh, man. Here we go.
Drew says, oh, chat, I can't wait to call Grumpy. Grumpy's already heated. I might send him over the edge.
Absolutely. Yeah. Lou is not coming back. Stop with that stupid shit. I think we had read that already. Spell it out for him, Grumpy. Fired.
You're fired.
That's what W says here.
There's some kid on YouTube who quoted Phil as a source. We're doomed.
The hell? Which kid quoted Phil as a source? I need to be linked that immediately. Oh my God.
All these little Islander sites are popping up now. Some of the failed people that we know in the past, some newbies. And I can't even listen because they're all just nonsense. They'll do 10, 12-minute videos on just the rumor of the day. It's like, come on, there's no thought. Click.
Here you go, Grubby. Read this real quick.
Joseph from Polo says, I like Jarmo and Matthew. Love the duo. Go Islanders.
Somebody sent this to me via email. You see what's on? And I cropped out their driver's license. Do you see? What does that say, Grumpy? For the people who are listening on audio at home, what are they seeing on screen?
They're seeing, let's see, this is a Dodge Durango. This is a Dodge Durango, and it's owned by James Hagen's father. And it says, bring Hagen's home.
They've got bumper stickers out there already where it says, bring Hagen's home.
I don't want him.
Now, do you think that was done years ago or earlier this year? Or when do you think that was created and purchased?
I think probably during the season.
That was from Joe. Joe sent that to us. I don't think the Joe's messaging here. Joe K, I think, sent that to us there.
People have wanted him. They've absolutely wanted him. But he's dropped in the eyes of the scouts. He's dropped. He's one of the older prospects. And he wasn't that great in Boston College this year.
Yeah. You go, Isles, man.
Wait to see if Brock Nelson wants the job. He single-handedly helped the prospect pool. Well, he did. He was acting as our general manager by getting himself traded and getting some assets. Because if Lamoriello had his druthers, he would have just kept him. If he would have said, oh, there's a chance I'll sign, Lamoriello would have kept him, and then he would have lost him for free. That's what would have happened. He didn't want to get rid of anyone off the team. Fox Crew says, Hardy will be the general manager. Shanahan, the president of hockey ops. Okay.
The candidate better not be Varlamov. Thomas said, Grumpy.
Gents, do you feel the longer the search goes on for a GM, the more compromised the search becomes?
Yes.
If the names we've seen out there have been interviewed, why hasn't one been selected?
I agree, Thomas. I agree.
Because they want to interview all of the candidates that they have deemed part of the search. That's why. And if you haven't had the opportunity to interview them yet, you just don't jump in the deep end of the pool till you hear everybody.
I think maybe they're going to bring up Chris Lamoriello.
He's gone too. He won't be there next year. He's gone. Islesman 718 says, what's in Lou's desk that takes time to clear out? Peanut shells?
Yeah.
Paper. Lots of paper. Darsh is going to be hired, you giant turd.
Les says here, TJ, I agree with Grumpy. Lou has been canned.
Absolutely.
There's a better chance, says Tommy B, of seeing Garth Snow come back than Lou.
There you go. He's gone. Thomas Anthony says, do you think the team will select one person for both GM and president of hockey ops, or is it clear they want two separate people? What's your take on that? I'd like to see two separate individuals with a cohesive vision.
I think that makes sense. I'm not sure if we know which way they're leaning, but I think that makes sense to have two different individuals do that.
I think if you're looking at Kakalainen or Bergevin, it's going to be one guy for both jobs. If they go with the assistant GM role, I think you're going to see John Collins or someone of the like be president of hockey ops, or maybe a different guy altogether. You're not going to give an assistant GM total control.
It's Kekalainen. Grubby, it's Kekalainen. I don't know how you keep pronouncing it, but it keeps rubbing me the wrong way. I always mispronounce words and you're on my ass about it. I think it's Kekalainen. Tony G says here, did they interview Wah yet?
Probably not. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be the GM.
Tony G, Freedom Fighter Lecture says they're going to get destroyed when he opens up the lines. Islesman 718 says Brock Nelson for GM. He inserts himself back into the lineup. Oh, man. Gosh, here you go. Brett W.
When Lou files for unemployment, his contract officially expired. Will you admit Grumpy was right, TJ? Yeah, the fact that he's even hedging tells you all you need to know on that.
I think the likely scenario is that Lou's not going to be involved, as I said so. I don't. We're both right. I think the most likely scenario is Lou is not going to be involved, but I think it's a possibility that he still may have some sort of impact. That's it. I don't think it's probable. It's a possible, but it's a very low possibility. Who taught TJ to nag like this?
The warden.
Look at you. Charles Dittmer.
Pajama Boy is not winning a Stanley Cup.
There it is.
You know what? Joseph Rumpolo says, Lou is gone. Believe me, period. TJ, you have no shot. Oh, my God. You know what? I heard that if Lou stayed, he wanted to sign Tavares back for that extensions. I heard he was high on his free agent list, too. Bring him back. Just kidding. Do you both feel that Wah is 100% coming back, or at least a very strong possibility? And would you trade Dobson and maybe Pajot for a shot at Higgins and that team's first-round pick next year?
So Thomas Annety's taking a different way. He's saying full-on blow it up, trade away Dobson and Jean-Gabriel Pajot, get the pick this year and their pick next year.
I think Wah's probably coming back. I'm not trading Dobson and Pajot for Higgins. I mean, it depends on the team you're talking about. Not Utah. Utah's going to be a better team next year. If you're talking about a team like, I don't know, San Jose or Chicago, maybe, because that's going to be a top 5 pick probably for both of those teams. But I'd rather move Romanoff instead. Dobson's better. He's the best defenseman on this team. You draft Schaefer, keep Dobson, get rid of the other trash, and try to move up in the draft next year.
Peter A. Grumpy.
I have to agree with Grumpy on this. If they had their top 5 list and 2 are still in the playoffs, then your logic doesn't apply, TJ. They may have Darce as their top choice, for instance, from the first group, but they want to interview Shanahan, and someone from Florida. And in the end, their interview with Shani, for instance, may blow them out of the water, but they can't make a decision until they have their top list completed. That would not vindicate or prove anything. Thank you, Peter. Thank you,
Peter. It would prove me right.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Next comment.
Simple.
Peter's smarter than TJ, but everybody is.
Wrong.
Says, wouldn't he be upset if he didn't get the job?
Patrick Waugh?
I don't think so.
Schaefer is the pick, says Joe. Come on, bro.
But he loved him.
Has way more skill in his left pinky than Josh Faley.
I like that. Josh Faley.
Thomas B says here, gents, Schaefer is the pick.
It's a no-brainer.
Well, why haven't we thought of that before? Says Tony G. This is a good point.
What did
yes.
I always call Bailey?
2026 first round pick. You just said Bailey. Bailey. George B.
George Pay says, Lou created this organization. Sounds familiar, right? Devils fans. And no one seems eager to take on the massive job to fix it. It's the whole organization from top to bottom needs a full restructure.
Here you go. Can I call in and reverse the charges? Says Coach Tommy B. There's no charges. The line's free. It's open. Tony Cheese.
Oh my freaking God. Live slam poetry for the noseless goon.
Goon. There you go.
Goon. Both of you guys look great tonight. Goon is sauced.
There it is. Neil Smith is making a comeback, says Matthew Carbone.
It's funny. After he left the Islanders, he never got another job in the NHL.
No Shaney. No Shanahan.
Yeah, I don't want Shanahan either. Will the Islanders screw up the draft pick? Will next season sink like a brick?
I hope next season sinks like a brick.
I hope next season sinks like a brick. And I hope we get what's the McKenna? Is that his name? Who's the kid? Supposed to be number one. I'm all for getting him.
You're grumpy. David Jesu.
Hey guys, I was watching Gil on Locked On Islanders. He mentioned the kid the Tampa Bay Lightning have in their system, Isaac Howard. Yeah. He's holding out. Possibly he's available for a second rounder. That would be a move I'd make to accelerate the prospect pool and so forth.
I would.
I don't know if you'd have to give up a second round pick for him.
Yeah, he just won the Hobie Baker, so maybe. I don't know, but I'd be all for Isaac Howard.
I have to question somebody who is turning down Tampa Bay.
I don't know. Maybe there's some other issues going on, but you'd have to have a really valid reason in order for me to buy in. I do agree with you on that. Islesman says here, Game 7 disappointment activated. Yep.
I think he's talking about probably about Florida.
Toronto. Nagamaga says here, I say take Misa. I'll take the number one center over defenseman any day.
I disagree. I think it's easier to get offensive players as opposed to just phenomenal defensive players. They able to move the puck out of your own zone and be a power play quarterback. There's not a whole lot of guys who do that really, really well. Guggen says tonight the Mets played like a big fart. Did Juan Soto show some heart? I think we already talked about that today. Guggen says, will there be back-to-back shows? Is the Maple Leaf season drawing to a close?
There'll be no show tomorrow. There'll be no show tomorrow.
No show tomorrow. The Warden's having some family in because it's a big birthday for the Warden this year.
She turned 60, huh?
I didn't say how old she was, but I guess, what the heck, right? Tony, women don't like to they go, what a loser. Tony G says, is Goon's nose stuffed? Did they find TJ's secret and now he is cuffed?
That's right. He was pulling Goon, Grump. I like it. Lou is the manager of Cotton Candy in Buffalo.
There you go. He killed the franchise.
I want Toronto out. WTF. Is it Saturday? No, Frank. We've got a little pop-up show here. Ward Aspect.
Toronto had to Ole a flawless shutdown game to win this. They are not really built to play that kind of game. They're going to have a tough time doing that 2 games in a row. I think all credit goes to Berube. All of it.
Goon.
It's okay to root for the Knicks, even though they're playing an MSG like the Rangers. Has Andy Francis become a stranger?
Oh, I don't know. I still talk a little bit with Andy. Grumpy. Yeah, who knows? Grumpy doesn't. Grumpy's.
I don't talk to anyone. Frank from Empire State says, Drew, did a volcano erupt in Japan?
No. Here you go. Matthew S.
I don't want Pajama Boy to win anything during that contract so he can go elsewhere and let Leafs fans be pissed at him. I don't think they'd be unhappy if he left to go somewhere else.
No, I don't think so either.
You think there's any chance he signs back with Toronto? I do. It'll be for less money, but he could resign. What are they going to do? Marner and Tavares both free agents. Freedom Fund Adventure goes, I'd recommend Lou to any other NHL team. Maybe he'll want as many of the Islanders core who he believes in, and we could trade them to Lou's new team.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Al's man. Who
from hockey management is going to be evaluating the combine, or do the scouts do everything? Not ideal in my opinion. It's all, I mean, the scouts do all that stuff. The GM gets way too much credit for that. He's like the last, okay, I put the stamp on it, but it's the scouting staff. And I don't think you're going to see massive changes to the scouting staff this offseason.
Who is this? God almighty. I think they made who is the lady who was brought up beer cart girls? I'm trying to remember, Frank. I'm sorry. I don't remember who was mentioned there earlier. Basketball. Really, ladies? Says David Sean McDonald. What language?
It's a true thing.
Oh man.
Oh, was he complaining about your cursing again?
No, he's talking about the basketball talk. That's all.
Alvin 718 says, I think I'll clean the litter box while the basketball chat is going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's always good to be able to bounce a few things around when you're listening to podcasts, I think. Here you go. I thought the
David Sean McDonald said, I thought the Harlem Globetrotters were really good. They were great. Who doesn't? Back in the old days when Meadowlark Lemon and Curly Neal were there and Marcus Haynes, who didn't love the Globetrotters? They were great. Tony Chi says, Grumpy is the mayor of Cope City.
I hate Schaefer. He's a chump. Says Tony Cheese.
I don't know any Islander fan who said that Schaefer sucks. Not one.
Misa.
Frank from Empire State says he wants Misa.
Yep.
Misa. I don't know.
Freedom, Fun, and Adventure, Grumpy. Stop with that fucking Jar Jar Binks voice. You fuck it up every time, and it's always the same. Just move along.
Misa don't know what's going to happen.
All right.
In the NFL, they should have a rule about guys who can interview after the second round. I agree. What if the NHL does? I don't know, but they should. Sucks if your boss is blocking you for advancing, and I don't think they should do that. Now, supposedly, the Islanders wanted Jeff Gorton, who's in Montreal, and they said no. They're not letting anyone interview. I'm like, I don't think that's right.
Freedom of Adventure says, have you ever heard of the curse of John Tavares? Goon.
Tony Cheese is out of hiding. When did contractors stop favoring aluminum siding? When they found out you had a fire in there, it was like being in a microwave. Everybody burns up and dies.
Is that really the case?
So I think that was a problem.
David Sean McDonald.
I don't care how long it takes to find a gym and a president of hockey ops, as long as it's the right choice. There you go. Drew
says, in all fairness, Grumpy was shitting on my opinion for 2 effing years. Tony Cheese says here, I like when Grumpy is wrong. He acts like he knew that was going to happen all along and changes topic real fast. I know he's typical. He could never admit when he's wrong. Ever.
You know what? It's okay to admit when you're wrong.
You don't do it, though.
I did. On what did I admit I was wrong?
Next, Goon.
I gave the Knicks the credit for coming back and winning. I still don't think they're a better team than the Celtics.
Oh my God! Next,
but I give him credit.
Move along. We've already argued.
When will TJ add a few more sound effects aboard? Never. Is it time to cut the cord?
I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
There it is, Grumpy. Your favorite. It was.
No, I don't mind that one. I don't like the one. Yay! That one. Yeah, that one.
There you go, Grumpy.
David Sean McDonald says the only thing that keeps me under 100 on Schaefer is the friendship Higgins has with Yzerman. Instant chemistry. Aren't they friends with Danny Nelson as well? I don't care. That means nothing to me. Nothing.
They are friends. All of them are old United States men's national team players. That's another reason where I'm kind of like, how many United States men's national team players you need?
I have an irrational bias against United States national team guys. I
agree.
Tony Cheese says, I got more clips. If you ever want to go down memory lane, I saved the DB Cooper clip. We have to have the DB Cooper clip before the big change. So,
Frank Grump,
Trading with San Jose, then trade down to Chicago to take Higgins. I prefer Misa, but hey, we were at position 10. Look at us now. No. Don't try to outsmart yourself. Schaefer's by far the best player in the draft. Matter of fact, Corey Proman has now dropped James Higgins into tier 3. He's not even tier 2 now. He's dropping. His draft stock is dropping.
Good. If he continues to drop, you can maybe pick a guy up like that. Simple. David says here, fuck Shanahan. Talk about Shanahan. Shanahan was a guy that kept the Leafs together. He was running it back before the bubonic plague brought that shit here. The bubonic plague. I always like that one too. Not the first car I've seen with bring Higgins home sticker. I just wonder how these people's wives feel about that stupid sticker. Yeah, first off, stickers on the back of cars are just like, come on, who does that? And second off, that would just be a weird one. Like that car only had one sticker, and the only sticker was bring Higgins home. Oof. Yeah. Oh gosh. TJ, the kids channel is called Islanders Digest. Oh God.
It's terrible.
Have you watched it?
I watched the kid a couple times, and I'm like,
oh, don't speak bad about it. Maybe he's trying.
I'm not speaking bad about him. I'm just saying that I don't think anything. He just, whatever he reads, he comes out and says, and everything is just ridiculous rumors that you can't. It's just hard to talk about rumors every day when there's new rumor every day. Okay. I don't know.
I hope he
continues. But I think it's that whole digest thing. I think it's a new. It's like a new thing. It's like they have Blackhawks Digest, Sharks Digest, those type of things. So kind of like Hockey Podcast Network has, or the Locked On Network, same thing. Frank from Empire State says Brock rules, always helping the team. Thank you, Brock, for telling Lou to shut up and trade him. Brock is gone too. Thank God.
Moose Jaw Sasquatch.
This might be a little complicated, but one, draft Schaefer, trade for Isaac Howard, trade Romanoff and Colorado's first to Utah and draft Porter Malone. I like the Kachuk comparison. The thing about Martone is, of all the top guys, he is the worst skater by far.
No interest in that.
By far. And they say, skate. And I was listening to a podcast with Proman and Scott Wheeler, two separate ones. Wheeler is, for him, it's Schaefer all the way, and the same thing with Proman. What Proman said about Martone is, where Martone is the worst skater of the top group of forwards, Higgins is like the least
physically engaged.
Yes, of all the players. I don't want somebody like that.
Here. Sorry, guys, your moderator has an actual degree in ball knowledge. It had to spill. Tony Cheese says here, Lou needs to grab his Rolodex and get the fuck out of Belmont. Different minds, Grumpy.
Grumpy, who's your favorite Marvel character? It was Thor. Thor was always my favorite.
Didn't like superheroes.
That's the old time comics, Marvel comics.
I don't think even as a kid I liked the superhero stuff that much.
Because you're a loser, dude. You don't listen to music either.
Yeah,
you don't listen to music. Who never listens to music?
Don't listen to music.
Freaking weird, bro. Weird.
That's me. Freedom from Adventure.
Remember Snow and Wait had the press conference where they indicated they were coming back. Ledecky had the best look on his face, and then the Islanders released a statement saying they were fired.
Isles man.
Higgins was the pick pre 7-game winning streak, and we're talking up for a 4 and 6 pick, not even a consideration for first overall. Keep it simple, stupid. Very true.
David Sean McDonald.
Shanna plans about to lose Marner for nothing. That's the guy some of you Nimrods are choosing. Would you not take Mitch Marner on this team, TJ?
Yeah, I mean, like, depending on what the cost would be, I don't think he's a playoff player.
It's just money. Just money. He's U of A.
No, I mean, the cost is, how much of a cap space is it going to tie up?
$14 million.
I don't think he's a really good playoff player, my opinion.
Okay. Would he make the team more enjoyable to watch?
Yeah, I thought we were going to try to rebuild.
Would he make the team more enjoyable?
I thought we were trying to rebuid. Are we not wanting to rebuild anymore? Because
I don't have to give anything up.
Help you rebuild.
Does he not speed up the rebuild?
No.
A player of that talent? No. Okay, I disagree. Michael Boucher says, hello, gentlemen. I just hope and pray that we don't have anyone from Boston again. Let's cut the ties with the Boston connections. I agree.
No, what I mean, it's not going to help the team. You're not going to continue to draft. Okay, he makes you immediately better, Mitch Marner. So you don't go through that time period to build up your prospect pool. So you don't go through the natural revamping of the organization.
If you're trading off Brock Nelson, JG Pajot, one of the defensemen, you think, and getting more draft picks, you don't think that would help your draft pool?
Brock Nelson's already gone.
I'm okay. Whoever. You don't re-sign Palmieri. You trade Anders
Why
Lee.
is Mitch Marner going to sign on to saying, yeah, we're going to be?
I'm not saying he would sign on here.
Why are we even entertaining stupid comments?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Would that be somebody who would help the franchise? I think he would.
Next.
Drew adds, also, there wasn't really that much for me to add. I'm just hoping that we grab Darsh and Bergevin. Those would be the ideal candidates for me, other than just stay patient. I agree.
There it is. Marner sucks, and I've said it forever. I wouldn't want him for free at $7 million, says Frank. I'd take him at $7 million, no doubt.
Come on now.
Yeah, there'll be no show, Drew, tomorrow. That's right. Thank you. No show. Okay. DiPietro, Grumpy, for GM. How about that, says Mike Boucher?
No.
Okay. Let's continue on here. David Sean McDonald says, to blow up this roster, we have to trade Sorokin.
Well, you're blowing it up then. Or Dobson. When you're moving guys like that, you're saying, yeah, we're getting rid of our young players. Sorokin's not young, but Dobson.
Frank says Marner always chokes and sucks in the playoffs. Always. He's great in the regular season, but he vanishes in the postseason. Isles man says here, I agree, David. Sorokin is the only real game changer. He steals 10 points every season. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yes, that's the one thing people have been grilling him about. Frank says here, did you see the pathetic back pass to center ice, turning the puck over and giving the huge goal? And then the shitty job back checking. It was just bad all the way around by Marner. Nosferatu Lou was seen roaming the Buffalo airport, says a Moose Jaw Sasquatch. Oh,
probably was looking to fly somewhere else and got lost.
David Sean McDonald.
How dare those Islanders fans bring up Shanafale as anything in management? Yeah, I don't want him either.
Drew Grumpy.
I'm excited to see the direction for the franchise. I still think this team is going to be in a rebuild, which is the right move. I agree.
Anti-censorship society.
Go with intellect over emotion. Schaefer and Dobson can be a first pairing for years. True. Drew says we have to get Darsh to land Howard. Well,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he has a problem. Maybe Howard has a problem with Darsh. Who knows?
Howard for a second is a no-brainer. Anti-censorship society says two-way defenders don't grow on trees. True. Absolutely. Drew Grubby.
We can get a number one center next draft. The class is stacked, plus Parcells is center. To lose idiot brain, just wanted to move him. Yeah, I'm waiting for next year for the center. You get the defenseman. You do.
Happy birthday to the Warden. Happy birthday, Warden, says Frank and Drew. Absolutely here. A Freedom Fund Adventure.
The kid that makes up all the crazy sensational titles for his videos is probably the one who cited Phil. His show is unwatchable. I watched a few of them, and I'm like, I can't watch anymore. Sorry.
I haven't watched any, I could say, so I haven't. Sorry. Maybe I'll check it out.
Drew says, Isaac Howard, from what I see of his stars down in the juniors, he's a future top 6 forward in this league. Trading a second is absolute slam dunk deal for any GM. I just want to know why. I just want to know why he's turning down Tampa. It doesn't make any sense.
Ranger fans possess an arrogance that Knicks fans don't.
Okay.
David Sean McDonald.
Adding Howard and drafting Schaefer would give us a top 10 to 15 prospect duel. I have no sources.
It definitely makes it better. I'm not sure how much better.
Hey, don't let the fact you have no sources stop you from having an opinion. Sorry, just joining. What are the chances that we actually get someone who isn't so secretive about making moves or being quiet about the majority of their moves? I think anyone you get, you're going to have more transparency. Anyone.
Yes, and you're going to have a lot more leaks from members of the media or from spread by members of the media than we used to have. That is for certain. The Harlem Globetrotters were amazing back in the day, says Frank. Absolutely. Grumpy back at it again with his Consuela impression. Yeah, Drew, he should do it. His Jar Jar Binks. Yes, here it is there. Misa, go a second. Misa, 6'2", 200 pounds. Misa, play good. I think that was good. Yeah. I think that was simple. I think that was a bad Jar Jar joke. Freedom from Adventure.
Grumpy, if Darsh is hired, there's a strong possibility he will bring Bolt's assistant coach Jeff Hapron as a new head coach. I don't know. Remember, ownership likes Patrick Waugh. David Shaw McDonald, grumpy old man, just shat all over my Hagen's opinion, and I don't mind. LOL.
There it is. Oh no, Schaefer sucks. I'm gonna call him. What is that? Schaefer. There it is.
You know what? He's too good to play for the Knicks. That much I can tell you. Freedom from Adventure says, I can never figure out what Lou actually did with his time. Wasn't doing media, wasn't building up prospects or developing Bridgeport, didn't sign free agents, didn't make a lot of trades. Nothing. I mean, he made some trades, pissing away first-round draft picks for third liners. That was a big one. Giving monster contract extensions to Ham and Eggers. He did a lot. Just everything was wrong. Best thing he did was hiring.
Drew says, you're grumpy. I'm convinced TJ likes darkness retreats after work. Guy seems to have no hobbies. No, I've got hobbies. Plenty of hobbies. Too many hobbies. Freedom, fun, and adventure.
Bada and McGuire had an interesting talk. Pierre asked the Islanders staff who drafting the Islanders, said Tavares or Duchesne. Offense sells tickets. Herman not considered. What dumb losers. Many said Hedman was best. Yeah, but those guys are gone. I just think you're going for the best player.
And here's the thing: John Tavares was the consensus #1 overall pick.
That is
worth knowing. For years is right.
And you can't say that John Tavares did not pan out. He absolutely did.
David Sean McDonald says no on the Marner on the island. He's not worth north of $13 million a year. That's right. Marner at $13 million AAV. Color me suspicious.
Okay. That's
I
fine.
love how we talk about their money like it's our own fucking business. That's right.
Yeah, I don't care what they spent. I could care less what they spent.
Oh, no. Freedom says Andy Francis is like TJ, loves the sound of his own voice. Kept saying he watched every episode of both of your shows and had no clue who Son X was. Fire.
I agree with that.
On fire.
I 100% agree with that.
Mark P.
We have Schaefer and Yzerman in the NHL next season. Richie and in 25, 26, Danny Nelson will be here in a year or two, and Finley has a real shot. We don't need to rebuild. So if we can get Marner, move forward to make the playoffs, we have solid prospects who continue to get us better. Schaefer will not be in the NHL next year. Neither will Yzerman. Callum Ritchie will be. He will be on the team next year, I believe. Danny Nelson's a couple of years away. Who knows about Quinn Finley? I hope he turns out to be something. But you're talking about every who everyone would say was our top prospects, them all panning out. Usually not the case. That's all I'm just saying.
Drew says here, isn't Son X Ray Mysterio? That's right, Ray
Mysterio. That's from way back.
That's an old throwback. That's for certain.
David Sean McDonald says, Marner's another dainty flower. We already have two, Engvall and Duchess Duclair.
Mark P says here, we have Richie in 25, Yzerman and Schaefer in 26, Nelson in 27, possibly. Finley, we fix the prospect pool. If we get Marner, do it and try to make the playoffs. And Howard for a second is a no-brainer. You're just not going to hit on every one of the guys. Probably is the likely scenario, Mark. If we did, we're in great shape, but I just don't think we probably do.
Yeah.
Howard wanted to burn a year of this past spring. He wanted to play, make him a playoff coach. He wanted to burn.
Didn't happen. So when he signs, he's going to have 3. It doesn't matter where he goes. He's going to have 3 years of.
He doesn't want to stay in. That's why he doesn't want to stay in Tampa. That's apparently the rumor. AC says Phil Sachs, more like Phil of shit.
Oh wow,
that's a good one. Okay. Let's see here. We're just about here at the end. No, I don't have to pee. I've done better on that. Do we have that run to the semifinals if we haven't drafted Mr. Personality. Yeah, I don't know who Mr. Personality is supposed to be in that regard, Grumpy. But I'll tell you this. I could see us, all joking aside, I could see us jumping up and looking at a guy like Higgins if he drops far enough. That's simple. But I just don't think I don't think he should be probably prioritized maybe with what we might have to give up to get him. Drew says, love you, Grumpy. Good night, Cows. Yep, we're wrapping the show here. Don't side Howard. He's a UFA in August. Sign for free. I have suspicion if a team acquires him before, he won't sign until he tests UFA. Breezeboss said that Howard wants to determine what team he plays for. God.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? I don't want him. He's a problem. Sounds like he's a problem.
I hope a GM brings some elite scouts. We need second round picks like Marshawn, Braden Point, Kucherov, Bergeron. Yeah, absolutely. TJ, I'll let you off the hook there on the call because my time was limited. Good. I'm happy. Grumpy, let's wrap up the show here today. What do you want to say before we end the show?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't. From TJ, the grumpy old man, and I've sent you Son X.
Son X is lazy, never showing up. He doesn't say anything. Don't worry about it. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening here to the show. Thank you, everybody, for commenting. Thank you for everybody calling in. We had a good time this evening. Thank you so much. Had a blast with the call-in show. Last comment, David Sean McDonald says, Lubonic Plague selects with the first overall pick a project. Damn it, TJ. Mr. Personality's JT, dum-dum. That's right. I think so little about John Tavares, I forget the nicknames about. That's it. But thank you guys so much for everybody listening to the show, calling in, commenting, and we'll be with you guys next time.
Next time.
All righty. Bye.